Have you ever been afraid that saying no would make people leave? Have you ever helped everyone and realized no one was there when you needed help? This is the story of a young man who helped everyone and paid a price no one warned him about. There was a beautiful village where everyone knew everyone, and everyone knew William. William was kind, so kind that he never stopped helping others. When harvest season arrived, William was the first to be seen in other people's fields before sunrise. If a farmer needed help loading crops onto a wagon, William lifted the sacks all day. And if someone was short on money, even when his own pockets were empty, William would still say, It's okay, we'll figure something out. But there was an uncomfortable truth behind all of it. William helped not because he wanted to, but because he was afraid of what would happen if he didn't. He was afraid of the silence after saying no, afraid of the looks that would follow, afraid of being talked about, afraid of being alone. So he kept saying yes, even when it cost him his time, his money, and his peace. He had lent his small savings over and over to people who had long forgotten their debts. Each time he told himself, It's fine, they'll pay me back someday. They never did. Then came the day when life demanded payment for always being good. An opportunity appeared, a piece of land on the edge of the village, one that could change William's future. If he bought it, he could finally build something of his own. But that day, a neighbor's crops were still lying in the field, and rain was coming. William hesitated, then told himself, Just this once. After that, I'll focus on my life. That day passed, and the opportunity disappeared. Weeks later, his mother fell ill. The cost of treatment was high. This time, William was the one asking. He went to the same people he had always been there for, the same people who had borrowed from him again and again. One said, I don't have it right now. Another said, I'm struggling myself. One didn't even look at him. William was shocked, not only by the lack of money, but by the realization that no one stood beside him. In the same village lived an old man named Theodore, a retired teacher who had spent decades teaching children how to read, and more importantly, how to think. Now he spoke less and listened more. And when he spoke, his words stayed. The next day, heavy-hearted, William went to see Theodore. The old teacher listened quietly. She didn't interrupt. Then, after a long pause, he said softly, You taught people how to treat you. William's voice broke. I just wanted to be a good person. Theodore looked at him for a moment. Then he reached beside his chair and handed William a small worn notebook. When I was younger, he said, I used to keep this. William opened it. The pages were filled with names and dates. This notebook is from when I was young, Theodore continued. Whenever someone had a problem, they came to me, and I helped them. I wrote their name in this notebook. William slowly turned the pages. Almost all of them were full. Theodore gently turned the notebook to the last page. It was blank. "I saved this page," he said quietly, "for the days when I would need help myself. I thought when that day came, someone would come back, and their name would be written here." He closed the notebook. "The days came," Theodore said, "but no one did." Then he looked back at William. "When you give without boundaries, you teach others that you have none. You help everyone, but you never respected yourself." William whispered, "If I say no, they'll be upset." The old man gave a bitter smile. "And now that you are broken, who is upset?" Then he continued, "From today, the rules change. Not long explanations, no guilt. Help only when you truly can. And lending money, only with boundaries." William was afraid, but he decided to try. The first days were the hardest. When William said, "I can't," for the first time, a cold silence filled the space between him and his neighbor. Looks changed. Smiles faded. Whispers filled the streets. They said, "He's not the same anymore. He's become selfish. He's forgotten who he was." Every no felt like a knife to his own heart. At night, he questioned himself. Am I doing the wrong thing? Am I becoming a bad person? But Theodore was right. The pain of change is the sign of growth. William learned not to explain himself. He learned that saving himself didn't require everyone's approval. When someone asked for money, he calmly said, "I can't right now." No stories, no apologies, no justifications. For the first time, he stood firm, calm, but unmovable. And something strange happened. Those who were always in debt began to take things seriously. Some returned money that had been forgotten for years, not out of kindness, but because they realized his boundaries were real. People still asked for help, but now they asked carefully, with respect. William's help was no longer taken for granted. He had changed. Not cold or not cruel, he simply stopped putting himself at the end of the line. He helped when he wanted to. And the strangest part was this: the less he sacrificed himself, the more he was seen. The next time he needed help, he was no longer alone. The same people who had once been upset now stood beside him. Not out of habit, but out of respect. That was the day William understood a truth he had been running from for years. People like you as long as you don't respect yourself. But the moment you take yourself seriously, they are forced to do the same. And William was no longer the exhausted man who was always available. He was a man with boundaries. He learned the truth the hard way. People don't respect those who give endlessly. They consume them. Let me ask you something, just between you and yourself. If you stopped helping everyone tomorrow, who would still be there for you? Stop giving. The truth shows itself. If this spoke to you, subscribe. You're welcome here.